Alright, what's up guys? Welcome back to another Path of Exile 2 video here. Today we're going to be taking on Doryani in Act 3 normal. We've got my staff, Smith of Kitava here. We spec'd into Temper Weapon to check it out after the new buff. So now you can empower 12 hits and it empowers 3 basically hits per strike, so much quicker.
So, at the eve of the end,
First off, if you don't mind hitting that subscribe button, really
has
appreciate it.
finally come
Helps me out.
forth.
If you enjoy the different builds.
I'm not here for you, fool.
Progress comes with a heavy price. Five moves ahead.
I don't really remember the mechanics of this fight.
The power of the Five. Inevitable. I can't give up. I must save my people.
So the only thing with this is, like, I feel like you can't really use it constantly throughout the fight, but there's definitely spots where you do get the opportunity.
Face me with your true might.
Oh, that hurt.
I've been preparing for you for years. One death is nothing for the greater good. The end of the world is nigh. Full power. I will crush you. How foolish. The destruction of Axolotl will be repaid 1,000-fold. I cannot allow you to interfere. You think you can run? Reverse the polarity. Do you truly think you can match me? I've had enough of you. Face the might of Eval. Nothing will stand in my way. Self-destruction. This is not over yet. One death is nothing for the greater good. I cannot let my efforts be in vain. Let me show you what true intellect looks like. You think you can stand in my way? No! You are within my grasp. I've been preparing for you for years. Self-destruction! This is not over yet. Burn to ash, demon of Axolotl! No! Do not fail me. Not now!
Alright, so fairly straightforward.
How could this happen? All I've done. All that I sacrificed.
Your people cannot be saved. History is already written. You can stay here and die, or come with us. and help save the future.
The legacy of the Val must be protected. I do know of a way to contain the beast.
Let's just start talking then.
I've
My
nowhere
friend
to
here
keep
isn't
that.
exactly the peacemaking type.
If only I had more time. There is an ancient weapon.
So will you help us?
I suppose I'm bought. I will come to
It's
you.
settled then.
Alright, so now we're going to Cruel. We'll take a quick look at the build here. I do like temper weapon. Like when it's active, it's just the delay in actually activating it. Like you can't really, excuse me, you can't really use it mid boss fight. Like right now, I can, you know, I can do that.
By the first ones. You're alive. I'm glad to see them now. I would appreciate it if you could. Reach Clearfell. Find
But you know, once you burn through it all, you gotta, you know, stop and redo it. I just don't know if the time it takes to redo it is worth it. Man, I really hate the river hags. Oh.
weakling.
And like that's where I kind of feel like the problem is with the skill. You just there's not really good opportunities to use it until you're done like clearing a pack. And do I really want to stop and do that in between every time I kill a pack? I don't know. I can't really tell either, like, if it's making my clear any faster.
Is that you? I can't get. Stay back. Don't do this.
I mean, it does seem like I'm hitting like a lot harder with it up. The bell tolls for thee.
It was me, or you. Well done.
One thing that's kind of annoying when you get back to Act 1 Cruel, you like don't have access to the hooded one right away.
Father.
Where? It's a wicked soul. There's a beast to protect. Now, if you find a bind out there.
So you either have to,
The Count must.
Well, I know some.
We will
you know,
survive this.
burn through a ton of identify scrolls, which isn't really, you know, like a huge deal. It's just mildly inconvenient. I feel like it's quicker than going back
Hello.
through the waypoints constantly.
Yes.
Kind of wondering if the extra spirit is like worth it. So I lose about 400 evasion, but I gain 250 energy shield. I'm gonna check that out. We'll give that a trial run here for a little bit, because what it'll allow me to do I'm planning on running this, and my goal is to just do a ton of like fire, cold, and lightning damage. But this would let me run I don't really know if this would be any good for my build. I mean, it's probably just way better if I run Herald of Ice. I wish Arctic Armor did more. Oh. I don't know why, but this has been like happening. But yeah, so we'll look at the build real quick. Gear's kind of like, you know, not important because I'm just leveling right now. But I have Coal Stoker and then Temper Weapon at the moment. Right now I'm about to pick up this, and my goal is to be able to basically shock free, or chill. I chill everything that I hit, but if I can get a lot of shock and ignites as well, these couple points, very efficient, will give me like 90% increased damage with hits, which is pretty decent. Coming up through here over to the monk starting area, picked up, all these like extra damage nodes, some crit nodes, some evasion energy shield, extra cold damage, recover 3% max life on kill, just helps a little bit with the sustain and survivability at the moment. Probably would spec out of that later. We've got these crit nodes. Not entirely sure like what the plan is. After I pick these up, I'll probably pick those up. Right now I've got a fairly decent critical strike chance, right at about just at about 1 in 4 attacks is a crit. I'm eyeballing these crit nodes, and I've also been kind of looking at this heavy frost, as well as climate change. Cause a little bit of global warming here. So then when we do get the freeze on enemies, they'll basically just get deleted. And picking up like the additional freeze buildup, because I do quite a bit of like freeze buildup already. I've looked at these up here, and I guess penetration works a little differently unless you can buy this like super expensive unique pair of gloves that let you go down to like -50 penetration. Penetration like caps out at 0 resist, so a little different than in PoE 1. These nodes over here are also nice. These are nice. I just don't know if I'll have enough points to like pick everything up. I'm still not entirely sure like what my defensive setup will be, because right now I'm just kind of like a glass cannon more or less. If I decide to get Forged in Flame, I've thought about going over here and picking these up for the extra elemental resists, and then possibly like crafting this onto my amulet, and then you can really stack the fire resist and get a bunch more like max all resist. But we will have to see. I don't know if there's anything else that benefits from uncapped fire resist. In PoE 1 there used to be one that gave you like a bunch of life regen as well. There was a node, or maybe it was part of the chieftain class. I think it was a node on the tree, but I don't see anything else that really benefits from the uncapped fire resist. Kind of an odd choice for that, to be honest. But even then, I'm not entirely sure like what I'm gonna put the rest of my points into. I just don't know about this body armor, because I feel like unless you take like 6 of these, you're 6 or more, you're kind of like not fully benefiting. And then even if you're not like getting this, I still feel like you're sort of missing out. Like you can still get some pretty nice stuff, but you could have really good fire resist, and then you could have like the 25% mitigation from like physical damage from hits there, which might not be bad. But again, I'm still not entirely sure how I feel about this class. Like, what I may end up doing is just like going boom, 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 taking this and taking this, and calling it a day. I've kind of been thinking about maybe with this using what's the spell? It's like solar orb, because anything that's close to it are ignited. So, you know, that could be good, just because anything that's ignited, I'm gonna do additional damage to. It's gonna work with my bell. Like if the bell and the solar orb are right next to each other, and it's got that ignite buff, like I could see that being pretty strong. But then I'll get that like 30% boost to hits. I've even thought about like grabbing this, just because it's extra, you know, extra damage is always good. And it'd only be like 5 points. So, not a huge investment to get another like 12% extra damage as fire. And then we'll just, you know, really rock the those damage nodes. I'm thinking, I've thought about picking these up because attack damage is nice. It's going to modify all of my melee hits. And then it's on the way. Like, I'm trying to be careful with what I pick up, just because I want it to affect all of my damage types that I'm stacking. I don't want it to only, like, if I only pick up cold damage, that's not gonna really help me out in, you know, like if you look even at my ice strike, like right now, I'm still doing like a decent amount of lightning damage. So let's look at the third strike. So I mean, it's a fairly good mix of like physical, lightning, and cold. So if we pick up that added fire, the attack damage should amplify that. One thing that I've started to notice in Path of Exile 2 that's very different to Path of Exile 1 is Path of Exile 1, the passive tree is not quite as like dense as PoE 2. So like PoE 1, you know, you may come down here, pick up some stuff, you may go like all the way over here and pick up some stuff, you may come all the way up here, pick up some stuff, you know, you really like travel quite a bit. And then the clusters that you pick up are not a ton of points. And like on PoE 1, if you're like going down this path, it may only take you like 3 points to get from like here to here. Whereas in this, it's like basically like 7 from when I was like counting earlier. Here we've got like 10. So I mean, get from the starting location to the edge is like a pretty significant investment. So if you beeline there, you're looking at like 15 points just to get to the edge. So that would, you know, make you think that the stuff on the perimeter would be significantly better than the stuff on the interior. But in my opinion, it's not. Most of the time, there's a lot of stuff that's like, you know, in here or in here that's better than the stuff out here. Now, I mean, there is some good stuff like on the edge situationally, but when you think about how much you have to invest to get there versus like if you just picked up like a lot of stuff without, you know, I feel like the stat nodes are kind of like dead weight. So if you have to travel all over and you're just going like stat node, stat node, stat node, stat node, etc., 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 until you get up here and you're like, oh, I finally got this like one thing that I want, or like this one cluster. You know, would it have been more efficient to not spend as many like stat nodes and just like grab all the stuff in here. So that's something that I'm kind of looking at in this build that I'm trying out, is I'm trying to not travel as much and not get as many stat nodes, and getting way more like actual things that are going to really affect your character versus just like 5 intelligence or 5 dexterity. So really only want enough stats to use the gear that I need, and then I'm just trying to pick up like everything else that I can. And really, one thing on the tree now is like a lot of it is just damage. There's not much you can do to pick up for survivability unless you're just like playing energy shield. So it's just it's just very different. Like, I'm having to rethink how I plan a build. And so this is kind of like my first attempt at doing something like that. So gonna pick these up for sure. Probably will come over here like this, get this jewel socket, because jewel sockets are really good, and then get that. And then maybe get these, just because that'd be like another 100% attack damage for 7 points. That's pretty efficient. And then when you think about that, like in perspective, it would take me 7 points just in like stat nodes, and like I'd get 1 jewel socket, so that's not bad. Just to get up here to pick this up, and then to come over here and get this, which, you know, I'm not even entirely sure how possible it's gonna be. So I would like to get this, I'd like to come up here, I'd like to go over here and get these. There's some, you know, nice crit nodes over here next to all the staff nodes, which are also a lot of crit. But just the amount of points it's gonna take. Like, it would take me just 11 points to get over here, I think. And it's kind of weird because, like, it's fewer points to go like this than it is to go like this, because of how many you have to go through here to get over here. So there's just some odd choices, in my opinion, on the passive tree, because, like, looking at it, you would think this would be the shorter distance, but it's actually shorter to go like this, from at least where I am at the moment, than to go. And you know, that's like right out of the starting zone. So that'd be 13 points going that way, or 11 points going that way. And you get a jewel socket either way. It would still be less points to go this way and pick up the second jewel socket there than to just go like that. It's just kind of weird. So unless there's like a lot of, you know, stuff that you want to pick up along the way, which, I mean, this here is not bad for me, like over here, but I'm not even entirely sure I'll have the points like to pick it up. These would be okay because of the double penetration. But just with how penetration's working, I'm not even entirely sure it's worth it. And like with some uniques, I mean, and like exposure, it just seems kind of like the penetration on the tree maybe it's not really worth like intentionally seeking out. Like if you happen to pick it up along the way, that's probably fine. But like this, I think would be bigger for me than anything. And I also like, you know, maybe this would be stronger if I was an invoker. It's all gonna basically come down to how strong temper weapon and how strong like fire spell on hit ends up being, and then how much I can like benefit from these here, unless I just decide to use like the body armor thing. But even then, I don't really think that's gonna like outclass Invoker. So it's really gonna come down to how much can I get out of Heat of the Forge against the Anvil, and like taking advantage of like working fire damage into this build. Because if it doesn't outpace like the critical, basically like the critical strike ignoring elemental resistance mastery of the Invoker, then Invoker's probably gonna win. And then even like if I was playing this as like similar to my Titan build with, you know, like stacking strength, I'm not really sure this would even be much better than that. Like you'd have to invest, you know, it's just kind of a weird ascendancy, but we'll see how it works out. Like it's definitely not like performing terribly, which is good. So like I'm fairly confident I'll be able to, you know, easily make it to maps and then like continue to progress through maps, just whether it's like, you know, fully optimized compared to as if I had played Staff as an Invoker is yet to be seen. We'll just kind of have to wait and see exactly how it all pans out. So thanks again for tuning in, guys. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. And remember to give them the D.